right, guys, welcome to another episode of Mac Yak. Steve is running a little bit late, so he will be with us shortly. So enjoy that view of him that he sent us privately. So now it's public. So
Steve is with us.
Sort of, yeah. Hopefully, he's probably watching this on his phone, maybe, and. He's like,
Get a text message.
He's probably, yeah. We're probably gonna get a text message in a few minutes saying, "What?
What?
GT, your gain is a bit high.
Is it? All right, I'll turn it down.
We prefer not to hear you at all, actually.
Oh, right, whatever. Before it's like nobody could hear me. Now everybody can hear me too loud. So let's turn it down a little bit here. All right, so that ain't better?
Well,
Testing?
It's equally annoying on Skype, but we'll wait for the feedback in the chat.
Well, this is on the actual stream, so
Still a little bit loud.
All right, it should be a little bit better though. All right, guys. So welcome to another episode of Mac Yak. Appreciate all you guys being out here tonight. And
take it down another 10%.
I just did another one.
Because I just turned the audio on and you went, all right, guys. And I was like...
I think this mic is just extra sensitive tonight. I don't know why, but I'll try not to speak too loudly here. Anyways, guys, we got a good show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about the Worldwide Developer Conference, or better known as WWDC. So there you go. Let me see. Let me get our next.
There's an emphasis on the D, but we'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to that. We have a topic on that one. So, anyways, first off, out of the chute, we're going to talk about the news. There's a couple items we have in here.
News.
Yeah, somebody want to post a link in there for this one? Inaccurate tip about the new MacBook Pros being announced at WWDC resulted in some people selling their current MacBook Pros hoping to get a better price. So, yeah.
This was really funny. I read this and I couldn't stop sniggering to myself. I mean, it's these people that are jumping up complaining about the fact that I just sold it because I thought there was a new Mac coming out, and it all basically stemmed from one sort of insider tip, one rumor that there were going to be new MacBook Pros announced at the WWDC. And well, I mean, it's a gamble, I guess. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. And a lot of those guys just lost big time. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel nothing for them.
No, I mean, I think it's the height of stupidity. So
their whole thing is, I'll get more for it now instead of afterward, because then the value will drop. Yeah, that's but if it's not introduced, then you're screwed.
It's still stupid, because it might be announced today. It might not be available for weeks to come. So
right.
What, you're going to be without a computer? You obviously don't need it that bad if you can.
But as I think Dana was getting at, the D part of WWDC stands for Developer.
Developers.
Okay, Steve Ballmer.
Developers. Who said sit down?
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the whole thing is, and I've been on some of the Facebook groups about this. People are really upset at not having hardware, and they keep saying that, they've done it every time. I was like, no, they haven't. I said they might have put something out that may have used the new software, but it's mainly for developers to get the new software kits and to start making new software for the new OSs that they're going to be delivering in the fall. That's what this is for. It's not, people think that this is Apple every time they have a keynote. New hardware.
Yeah.
Once in a great while, they will do a speed bump of usually a mobile device or a MacBook Pro or a MacBook or something like that. But by and large, you look at the history of WWDC, it's all software.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't believe all the rumors.
Here's the thing too is from what I read on that article, the guy that put that rumor out has been wrong a lot of times, but a lot of people still think because he got it right a couple of times, he guessed right, they put a lot of faith in him. So, but he's been wrong more than he's been right. However, people still go to this guy as the authoritative source.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah.
I get it that, the whole thing with even a broken clock is right twice a day. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
22 times that clock is wrong. So how much faith are you going to put in that? But people just keep going back to.
Yeah, exactly. So I that's why I have no sympathy for these guys that sold their stuff, because they based it on this idiot that was wrong most of the time, his rumors. So, you're going to start believing rumors, and that's the whole thing is that, yeah, a lot of those rumors and stuff that come out before it are really close to being correct, but a lot of them, a lot of the time, are wrong. Hell, even we were wrong about the new Mac Pros, remember?
No,
Luckily.
Yeah. So, anyways, so our next
happily,
article,
I would add.
Yeah.
Happily, I would add.
Yeah. So the next one is about WWDC also. Somebody can post that link in there for me. Most of the features touted at WWDC will not be available on the Intel Macs. So even if you have the new Mac Pro, guess what? You're not going to get all the features that they mentioned. Such as I don't know, some of the
live text in photos, portrait mode for FaceTime video calls, interactive 3D globe in Apple Maps, text to speech for additional languages, on-device keyboard dictation, unlimited keyboard dictation, more detailed maps for selected cities.
Yeah. So
the 3D Maps thing just cracks me up, because who uses Apple Maps anyway?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, is that now, they got their beta test and all this, so these people are probably going to say, hey, this isn't working. It's like, why are you putting out an OS like this? And I know why they're doing it, because they want to sell more M1 Macs.
Well, sure.
Here's the thing, though, is that that's a really kick in the balls to people that just bought all the new Macs, and especially the Mac Pro.
Not really, though.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. None of these features are something that's like it's a world-breaking.
Well, all those features are what's basically making this new.
When you make money with your Mac, like you have a Mac for your bit. I don't care if you have a Mac to spend your entire day on YouTube or on Facebook. I don't care about users like that. If you have a Mac for your business or to do serious work, you don't care about the features in the operating system. You care about the software that you run. So 3D maps and all that stuff, you're not going to miss out anything by not having that. So I don't think it's a big deal for people that make money off their Mac. For people that don't have anything better to do than to explore OS features and Facebook, yeah, you're probably going to be pissed. But Apple doesn't care about you anyway.
Well, go ahead, Bruce.
No, sorry, I was just laughing at what Jay said, that's all.
Well, I mean, but still, if you're going to bring this out, and they didn't even, I don't think they even really said that much in the WWDC. This came out after the fact, because they announced all these new features in Monterey, but then, bam, none of you guys are going to get it. You might have just bought a brand new 2020 MacBook Pro or a 2021 MacBook Pro with an Intel processor, and guess what? It ain't going to work.
Well, it's an interesting thing, because this actually spins onto a news story I was reading the other day, or just yesterday, which I didn't actually put in the notes, but there's apparently some indication within the new operating system that there is likely to be a new release, or a revised release of the Mac Pro still on Intel. Coming out, so
Nice.
So there is likely to still be another Intel computer released by Apple, and it will be the next Mac Pro. And as I say, so they're potentially talking about stuff that's not going to be supported on a computer that hasn't even been released yet.
Well, and I agree with you on that, because you got to look at it this way: the Mac Pro, I don't think that the ARM, and I think we've talked about this, we beat this one into the ground before, is that the ARM processor is just not ready to be in a pro machine like that. It might be able to run circles around all the i9s and the AMD processors right now, but for right now, when you want to get serious work done on a Mac Pro, it's just not ready for that. Until they cut something that has 50 something cores, it's not gonna be worth anything. All right. Anything else about the features before we move on?
Sorry, I'm not as chatty. For a change, I'm trying to watch the chat more carefully.
I was actually watching too.
Oh crap! We're 45 minutes in. I should look at the chat. So I'm trying to.
All right. So Jay's our chat watcher tonight. So.
Is Steve out on a quest to rescue another Molar Mac? Oh, if only it was so adventurous and so glamorous.
Much lamer than that.
Yes.
No. He's eating a cheeseburger.
Oh, look at that, Kai.
Hello,
Kai.
Yep. All right, so we're going to move on to our main topic tonight, and that's discussing WWDC. So one of the first things I want to talk about this, and it's in our notes here, is, Monterey came out, iOS came out, all these other things came out, but they're all in beta right now. What you hear a lot of people do is they put this beta on their system, their daily driver, and then it breaks things. And I laugh at people like that because every time they do this, that's the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because people have done this every time there's a beta. They sit there and they complain and they blame Apple for it.
And they will keep doing it.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you just put a software that Apple has specifically said has stuff that's broke in it. And that's the reason why it's out there, for you to find the broke stuff and to let Apple know about it and let them fix it.
Okay, so raise your hand if you only got 5 minutes into the WWDC.
A little longer than that, but then I fell asleep.
Well, no, to be fair, I skipped the first 5 minutes because the intro just went on and on and on. And I started falling asleep, so I skipped. I will mention that
everything after the DeLorean and the intro, after they went to a cartoon, I went, fast forward.
As I get some notes. How does Craig Federici get his hair like that? That's what I've got here in my notes.
Mine was, why does Craig stand with his feet so far apart?
Well,
and I think the answer to both questions is Craig is an alien.
Why were they such social distancing? I mean, they were like 50 feet apart.
They were rooms apart.
Rooms apart, yeah. Are we?
Oh, I scrolled up in our
me,
group
or
chat.
is YouTube doing something wrong?
What's happening?
Organier?
I'm looking. It says excellent condition on my end.
Okay.
So.
Good. Yeah. No, I've just completely lost the stream here.
Yeah. So did I. Let me refresh.
The only note that I made is the continuity thing was cool.
That is cool.
I don't know what I'm. Oh, when you can drag your mouse over to your iPad. I remember.
Yes.
I remember.
All right.
That's cool.
They call that
everybody,
universal control.
If you're still hearing us or whatnot, tell everybody in the chat there to go ahead and refresh. I did a refresh and it came back.
Not for me.
It's still going here.
Yeah, I had the little circle of death thing going on.
Yeah, I did too. Okay. Yeah, it really upset my browser there. It's back now, and I'm watching an ad with an Australian cricketer.
Well, I had to skip the ad, so.
There we go. Okay. All good now.
It wasn't me this time. Honest, that was a YouTube thing.
You'd filter
To be honest, you never take responsibility for any mess up in the stream.
True, but this one actually was not me.
Okay.
I actually came into the stream. I actually was watching it live. However, I came into it about like 20 minutes into it already because I forgot it was on when Steve was saying something. I was like, "Oh, is that on?" So I turned it on and watched it, and I think it was in the middle of like the iOS.
Well,
thing.
you guys were talking about it, and at some point I typed, "Where are you guys getting all this information, on the rumor site or something?" And Steve's like, "No, it's live right now." Oh, I forgot.
Good job, Grudy.
See, that shows you how boring these keynotes are getting nowadays.
Yeah.
We're like, because remember before, it used to be the point where, man, we got to watch this. We got to watch this live. We got to be the first one to watch it.
The crowd feedback. All this, like, oh, look at our fancy technology where we can zoom through the campus from one room to the other.
The whole thing was
we have all
recorded.
these big fancy looking rooms. I don't care. I like it in front of the audience where you get that direct feedback.
Yes,
Otherwise, it's like a sales pitch to me, and it just.
Well, the whole thing was pre-recorded. If you looked at it, it was all edited and pre-recorded, and. And then you had Craig jumping around, like he was teleporting himself, and that was just dumb as hell, be honest with you. But,
Although when he teleported himself into the pond, I thought that was kind of funny. I was just like, you could have gone further out. But anyway.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember any. There was something about spatial audio. I don't care. I got sound sticks. Spatial enough.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of talk about Safari, which I don't care for because I use Firefox.
Well, that was my whole key, and we were talking about this, is that the whole thing about Monterey was basically, it was a big Safari update. They could have done that to Big Sur, a big Safari update, and called it a day.
Yeah.
I really don't think they put much into this new update to make it a...
I remember something else. Fitness Plus got Tai Chi as an option now. Yep. I
don't even know what that is.
About this keynote. It was so boring.
But iOS does now. FaceTime gets grid view.
Oh, so we're going back to FaceTime?
No, we're not going back to FaceTime.
No.
I mean, and I think you can schedule meetings and stuff now. It's essentially just becoming more like Zoom.
What did they announce about AirPods? Because that was probably the shortest segment of the whole thing, and I slept through it entirely.
Really nothing.
I think they are connected to Find My now. Well, you can locate.
Yeah. You can actually pinpoint them like a tag now.
Yeah. The thing is, I used to care about new features and stuff when I could still enjoy the whole ecosystem. Like, the Mac now does this in combination with the phone, or the phone does this in combination with the watch. But as I'm running a Mac OS that is Mojave, and I have no intention of updating my phone until months into it to see if it's stable and all that stuff, the ecosystem is kind of falling apart for me, because I cannot enjoy that continuity thing until I update to... What's the new name?
Monterey,
which the Mac Pro is not going to take. I'm not going to buy a new Mac Pro because money. And, so the whole ecosystem thing is kind of falling apart for me. It has been for the last few years. So I'm less and less excited about these new gimmicks that they're introducing.
So here's the thing, guys. We are monetized. You can actually donate some money to us so Jay can buy a new Mac Pro, see?
That's a lot of donations right there.
Exactly.
It all starts with $1.
Exactly.
I was watching a little bit of a live stream the other day, and there were people donating like $200 in the super chats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just saying. I'm just letting everyone know that sort of stuff goes on.
Getting out.
We can barely get more than 10 thumbs up here. That's the kind of people that are watching us. They hate us.
I've seen some game streamers having. I mean, they make. This is no joke. A game streamer makes probably about $50,000 to $100,000 a month,
and
that's just on the subscriptions and the super or whatever super chats or whatever they call it on Twitch.
All right, I'm gonna start streaming Unreal Tournament.
Yeah,
make some bank, buy a Mac Pro.
But they make some bank on that, and that's all they do. And that's not including the ad revenue they're getting from it.
And it's not even the gamers either. The stream that I was telling you guys about last weekend that I watch, at any given time they've got between 6,500 and 8,000 people watching. And you'll look at the super chat up at the top. I know this is getting a little off topic, but you'll see 100, 500, 100, 200, 50, 500. I mean,
thank you, Kai.
Yes,
it's crazy.
Appreciate it.
Oh, look at that. Hey, thanks,
You
Kai.
got 5 pounds.
All right.
We're not begging here. Just don't feel like
to go.
don't feel like we're pressuring you guys into
No,
sending money
we're
because
not
really.
pressuring. I'm just saying.
Listen, for me, it's either get a job or get a job that pays better. Stream Unreal Tournament. I don't exactly have the body to slap a bikini on and dance around in a pool on Twitch. So I don't know. Maybe I should just get a second job or something.
Get
I
your
might
wife
pull
to
it
start
off.
doing it.
Yeah.
It's a day job.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin.
Steve is not here to give you an EAP, so he's slacking. That's his department.
Yep.
So here in my notes, so I fell asleep 10 minutes into iOS, slept through AirPods, woke up at the last couple of minutes of iPad OS, and the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was a close-up of Craig Federighi, and I went,
I don't know.
Steve
I
does
think
not want to see you do that, Jay.
as usual, it's there's a lot of evolution and no innovation.
Wow, lots of background noise there, Steve.
Well, he's
chewing it, trying to digest that cheese. You know.
No, you can't hear him. He's muted now.
I didn't.
Oh, there we go. Say something, Steve.
You keep muting yourself.
Yeah, because Skype is stupid and it's not recognizing I have headphones plugged in.
Ah.
Well, it is
Skype's
Skype.
fault, not your fault, right?
I had to come in and go eep. Thank you for all the chats. Oh, eep. There you go. It
You home
purred it.
yet?
No, it purred it.
Are you standing in a lake?
Yes.
Are you
Please send money.
Craig?
Please send money to
I'm
dig
trying
me
to
out
get
of
it. Hold
my
on.
watery grave.
Did Craig Federighi transport you into a lake?
Yes. If you could donate to Mac Yak, you'll help get me out of this conundrum.
No, that's for my Mac Pro fund.
Oh,
Yeah.
See you guys later. Crap.
All right, Steve, you're live on the show now.
Oh, so nobody saw me sinking into the lake?
No, you have to do it again.
No. We could see the pier behind you anyway, so it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Nah, you guys are no fun.
Oh, Kai, thank you again. Appreciate that.
Oh, damn.
Eep.
Retro Techie wants to know, Steve, did your brother find his hard drive?
Yes, he did.
Good.
Yay. Thank you, Kai.
The important news of the day.
Now we can all buy ourselves a banana, he said, so.
Yeah.
A banana, 1 pound.
So
I don't know.
I
How
think
much
we've
do bananas
digressed
cost?
enough here, so we need to. I think we need to get a little bit more back on topic here. Steve, you got anything about WWDC you want to talk about or rant about?
I mean, I think we were saving something off rant about later, but I think it was fine updates if you have the devices that can support that type of stuff. I mean, I think that was what Jay was getting into. You know, I don't have a modern iPhone that, I mean, yeah, the iPhone can support the iOS, but that's the only thing I could update. I probably can't update my watch, probably can't update my Mac. Not that I would want to. So, I mean, honestly, the Mac stuff looked interesting from what I saw. You know, there were a few little nice to have features that people mentioned like after the stream, but I think it's basically like a Snow Leopard release. You know, you had Leopard, which was Big Sur, updated a bunch of stuff and broke a bunch of stuff. And here comes the Snow Leopard release to sort of calm everything over and do some updates and under the hood changes.
Hoping for too.
And I'm actually glad that's the case, because eventually when I go and purchase an M1 Mac, I know the OS isn't going to be completely hot garbage. It'll still be garbage, but you know, there'll be refinements to that garbage. You'll be able to see the texture and different smells of that garbage. So that's my take on it.
How descriptive. I can almost taste it.
There's some garbage on the pier here. I can
Taste
go
the
and show you.
garbage.
Well, you're in New Jersey, so that, you know.
How much money for me to eat this seaweed? Wait, that's not seaweed.
I mean, I
We're not
wish
that
I
kind of
could
YouTube
yak
channel.
for an hour about WWDC and all the stuff that was announced. Like I said, first, I don't remember 99% of it, and second, I think it was just touching on little things like maintenance updates with a few features slapped on. But yeah.
like I said, I think Steve and I talked about this in our chat. It sounded like Monterey, like I said before, is basically it was a Safari update they could have done on Big Sur and called it a day.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, there's more to it than Safari. I mean, Safari was a big thing they touted, but if you look at the actual things that they're releasing as part of the OS, there's a lot more than
well,
just
they could have put that into Big Sur. I mean, here's the thing: is
Oh no. Okay, if you want to do that argument, Greg, they could have put everything into Big Sur, but they're
Sure.
not going to, because
They forced themselves.
But you don't have to pay for these updates anymore. So it's like, why?
Mm.
What's the problem?
well, I understand that.
If this was Tiger, they would have put it in Tiger, but they forced themselves onto this yearly release cycle, so now
Exactly.
they might as well slap a new name on it, you know?
Well,
I would
now-
rather have the same OS for several years and then get a big, fancy update.
And now we're
Like
getting,
Windows.
Now it's 12 because 11 was like very short lived. It's like
Yeah.
10 was what? How many years?
Yeah, we're gonna be up to like
20?
97 in no time.
It was like 19, 20 years. Well, no, it was 19 because 2020 was Big Sur.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, because Big Sur is OS 11, and then now it's OS 12. So 11, barely what, a year?
Yeah, that kind of boggles my mind. Like, what is Big Sur up to now? 15 or 16?
11.4.
11.4.
But-
So
Yeah, I don't know. That's
we were-
it's gonna be weird to get used to this numbering cycle.
we were like 5 years into OS 10 before we got a 0.4, you know. So I don't know. I mean, eventually, I think they're going to transition away from the number update. I mean, it's still going to be there, but and you can already see it now. They've very quietly gone from saying OS 10 to Mac OS, and it's kind of just flowed into the vernacular now.
Well, they actually
And,
went to that saying around, I think.
I know it's
High
been a
Sierra,
couple 3 years, yeah.
when
But
they-
even then, it was still 10 dot something.
Yeah.
So
But I was wondering because when they got to 10.9, I was like, oh, what are they going to do from there? And it's like, oh, we're going to 10.10.
just go to 10, and we'll just
what? I was like,
yeah.
like, that's kind of going to mess up the numbering system a little bit. You know, hey, whatever.
They'll start
Yeah.
numbering it with letters.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Adobe. You know, they put the year with their applications now. So you open Photoshop 2021, but if you look at the version number, it's 22.4 point whatever. You know.
Well,
So
I'm actually shocked that Apple has not gone to a year numbering scheme like Windows or any other program right now. You know,
There's no innovation in that.
no. I think because Microsoft did it first. You know, like
As long
Windows.
as it's not it's not named like Mac OS Craig Federighi's hair. Like, I'm okay.
Well, when they start running out of California landmark names, they might start doing that.
that
Well,
was
they
one of my
did- they
other
did-
notes.
They did cats, then they're going to do California names, and then they're going to do like
They did
like-
cats and mountain ranges, and now just like California features. Can we get out of California here?
names of fish, names
That'd
of
be nice.
tropical fish.
That's a
I'd
great
like it
idea.
I would like it if they did planets and just
Yeah.
like took OS 12 and just made every version update the name of a planet or some sort of celestial
Well,
object.
they
the
could
stars.
just do it with like, pick a fish. You go on for millions of releases.
Yeah. Even if it's the best operating system ever made, if they ever come out with a macOS Carp, I will not install it.
I will install that.
And you know what's
right away.
funny, Jay? That'll probably be their best version ever.
Not doing it.
What about sharks then? How about sharks? Sharks would be good.
Yeah.
You got Mac OS Great White.
Mac OS
I can
Whale
dig that.
Shark, Mac OS Nurse Shark.
They'll introduce Tiger Shark and it'll be very confusing for people.
Hammerhead shark.
Are you running Tiger or Tiger Shark?
I'm getting flashbacks. I don't know what I'm
What,
running.
was it maybe Tiger King?
I'm trying to install Tiger Shark on my G4.
No, you got the wrong colored stripes. It won't work on that.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to move on from
I
the
think so.
Yeah,
too.
I think so,
Before we
too.
do, can I
All
just
right.
very quickly jump in with a quick news article because this is something that's just happened, I think, yesterday.
Go for it.
New York State Senate on Thursday passed a landmark right to repair bill that aimed to require manufacturers to provide access to the parts, information, and tools necessary for fixing electronic equipment. So this is something that's been going on for a very long time on a state-by-state basis. And this is a very, very big step forward for the right to repair sort of group. There's a very similar thing going on over here as well in Australia. So, but anyhow, I just thought I would mention it because, as I say, it is something that's been going on for a while, and this is a big positive step.
If you listen very closely, you can hear Louis Rossman partying right now.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because it sets the precedent to like this place did it, so if you could use similar rules and if these similar people support it, you could just move forward no matter where you are. It's like, the first step towards that. I mean, that is fantastic. I wonder how much these big companies are now going to whine and fight about it.
Oh, you know
what's
they are.
happening.
They're gonna appeal it for sure.
Yeah, well,
So,
it'll keep fighting. It'll be going back and forth for sure.
It was a vote of 50-something to 12. So.
Oh wow.
And Bruce, do you have a link to that news?
I've got it off a really crappy website. Let me if I can find a good one.
So is it one of those rumor sites that, like the people that told him to sell their Mac Pros?
He got it off like Mac84.net or one of those horrible sites.
Not that one.
What news channels do you guys trust?
I like
I know Dave's
the
gonna
one
say
with
none.
the Australia guy on it.
Yeah. What is that guy? The Australian guy YouTube channel?
There are a
Aussie
few.
guy?
I don't know. His videos are too long. I don't watch them.
I mean, it doesn't have much to do with trust because all the websites are rumor websites. So how much can you trust a rumor, really?
Yeah.
I'll read them, but
Cult of Mac is a pretty decent one.
yeah, Mac rumors, 9 to 5 Mac,
so
Cult of Mac.
Nothing of the credibility of this particular website, but here is a link to the decision. So.
Oh, it's Vice.
Okay.
Yeah.
There.
Vice.
Okay.
Lovely ads on that website as well.
Yeah. All right.
Why can I not click on it? It's not working for me.
You got to click harder.
It worked for me.
Click faster.
Computer's broken.
Yeah, probably. Time for a new Mac.
Yep.
Well, we got $10 in super chat from Kai.
No, actually, it's about 15 because he gave us pounds. Remember?
That'll
right.
give you about half a puck mouse.
So, real quick before we go to the next topic, stuff we haven't hit on yet: privacy, iCloud, health, Watch OS. Did any of those have anything?
I don't
worth
care
mentioning?
much about the health stuff. I do applaud them for doing it because there's some good stuff in there that can benefit a lot of people, just not me. So I don't care. But yeah, it's cool stuff what they're doing with all the metrics and the sensors and the studies, and it's cool. But yeah, I'm not old enough to need any of that crap yet. So
Yeah. Same here. I mean, I have a Series 5 Apple Watch. I'm not going to upgrade it anytime soon. I mean, I stuck with my Series 1 till I got the Series 5, so I skipped over 2, 3, 4.
I had every intention to really use my watch. I'm not even wearing it right now. But all I've been doing since day one is track my sleep. I'm fascinated by all the sleep stuff. That's all I use it for, really. So,
Well, Jay, you never sleep, so.
I sleep a lot, just not in a time where people usually sleep.
You sleep on Bruce's schedule.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. that's
I'm
about right.
usually awake when he goes to bed, and then I'm awake when he wakes up.
I did like the all the messages and the FaceTime updates and those things. Like I always like them actually trying to update that stuff. Some of the shortcut stuff looked neat. I don't know how often I'd use them, and some of like the focus, because anybody who has like notification spam from like I don't know, Discord or something else that like can be a nightmare to try and individually manage. Like some of that smart do not disturb stuff and focus stuff seems pretty neat. I'll have to see how it actually works, but
Oh, I forgot what CS is saying. If you subscribe to iCloud, the iCloud Plus looks interesting. I forgot to poke fun at that.
Yeah.
iCloud Plus, just like every other service they have.
Well, it's weird
Disney
because some countries are not able to, I guess, for some of the whatever features they added, there was like a disclaimer that like some countries could not have iCloud Plus. You just have the regular one. So I guess that's why they're putting that discrepancy there. But it is weird to have like Plus, like you're just adding some things to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like anybody could buy the normal one if the other one's available.
But I mean, I think they're offering more storage space and other
No,
stuff.
the storage space is the same. You do get enhanced. You get a whole allocation of space for like your smart HomeKit video recording stuff or whatever that doesn't eat into your iCloud storage. So that's something that they're offering. And there's a few other little tidbits here. It's a nice upgrade. Don't get me wrong. It's still silly that they give you 5 gigabytes as the starting allowance, which is absolutely ridiculous in this day and age. But the one thing I will say that is nice is when you upgrade to a new iOS device, you get like 30 days or something like that where your gigabyte limit is unlimited, so you could back up your entire device, your old device, and transfer it to the new one without worrying about running out of space, which I think is very, very much needed.
I've been a 200 gigabyte subscriber for years. I mean, I've paid that $3. I think it's like $3 a month or something like that for 200 gigabytes, and I have yet to fill it up because I don't use it for general backup or anything. I use it to back up my iPhone and my photos. That's about it. Other than that, I don't use it to do anything else on it.
Well,
to store documents too. I do store documents on there, but you know.
Well, let me ask you this. I pay $10 a month for 2 terabytes. So does that qualify me for iCloud Plus? Because if it doesn't, I'm not going to get it.
Any plan qualifies for it.
Oh, so mine does then too, huh?
Yeah, any of the plans that you pay for qualify for it.
Geez, I'm glad Steve was paying attention.
Like I said, I
showed up
skipped
for a
all
reason.
those. I really wasn't interested in watching every single one of those segments.
We really should have left this segment to start after Steve arrived, shouldn't we?
I don't think he's going to be home in time for the show they did.
He's not even driving yet.
I am very close to my location. So that's all
What? Oh, did you walk to your house?
Well, I'm not going to disclose where I am. The people, the rabid fans will find me instantly and grab my molar Mac from my paws.
Well, just all they got to do is go capture Mike and beat it out of him.
Yeah, or that too. And in his weakened state, they'll probably get to him before they get to me. We love you, Mike.
I remember something else about the keynote. We got a new Siri voice that sounds like a dude. That's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I looked up what you told me, and I kind of forgot. Could you say it again?
Really? That's the voice?
Oh yeah.
Innovation, man.
They dumbed down Siri's voice.
Courage.
All
right,
can you
so
repeat the
something
question?
about the new Mac Pro.
Yes. What, the new Mac Pro or the...
Or whatever. Moving on.
All right.
Yes.
So, this is a topic that's been talked about a lot in a lot of the Facebook groups, a lot of the Mac rumor groups, the open core community especially. And what it is if you are trying to run Big Sur 11.3 and higher on a CMP, don't do it. If you value your hard drives and your data, don't do it. Because there is what they call, and I don't pretend to understand it. Bruce, you might understand what this is. It's a race condition in their new bootstrap loader that is causing data to be corrupted in any drives that is attached during the boot process. So to be honest with you, I don't understand what it is, but
It basically is like ransomware. It takes your data, messes it up, and you'll never see it back.
Well, it's ransomware without the ransom.
Yep, you can't even pay to get it back.
Yeah. Now, one of the guys in the Mac Pro upgrade group, he is actually a part of the OpenCore group, and he has already tested the beta of or Mac OS 12, and it still has that same condition. It has not fixed it. Anything that supported actually is working fine. It's not having a problem. It's all the unsupported machines, and that's including Hackintoshes. Hackintoshes are having the same exact problems right now. So a lot of people are thinking maybe it's Apple's way of getting rid of all this, but to be honest with you, I don't think Apple cares much about that stuff.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah. I think it's just...
But yeah, the work is ongoing. We actually spent quite a few hours last night. We have a separate chat going with the guys from OpenCore and Martin Lowe, who does the Mac Pro OpenCore package. The latest OpenCore, we've been trying everything, even the weirdest things that are seemingly unrelated. Just trying different. We can't figure it out.
Uh-huh.
It's just not working. So, and there are people like, oh, I'm running the beta right now and I'm fine. Good on you. You're special. We're so proud of you. But to everybody else, don't do it unless you have backups.
Here's the thing, though, Jay, and I've told people this. I ask them, how many times have you rebooted your machine? Because it's not, you can run it fine, and it'll run fine as long as you don't ever reboot your machine. But after a few reboots, that's when the problem happens. It's not, it's a boot issue. It's not while it's running. It'll run fine. In fact, people have installed it, and people say, oh, I'm running it right now. As soon as I ask that question, how many times have you rebooted your machine? I haven't rebooted any. Like, that's the problem. Go ahead and reboot that sucker about 10 times, and I'm willing to bet you won't have any data after that.
Yep.
But, I mean, there was one guy, he was getting really mouthy with me, and Jay went in there and said, okay, because he told him that it's my problem and everything. I said, so Jay goes back and tells him, after I block him, Jay goes and tells him, well, yep, when you come back and tell us that your data's gone because you're having a problem with it, that's your problem, not ours.
Yeah, I don't want to see him come crying in the group and looking for help after that attitude. You know, if all you're doing is show up to that group to show off how special you are, and then ignore all advice, ignore all warnings, and then you come back crying, I lost my data. Dude, go start your own Facebook group. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. Because that irritates. I mean, I was actually pretty nice to the guy, and I said, look, you can't sit there and say it works, because we have some experts out there that have been working on this day and night trying to figure out this problem, and they haven't figured it out yet. Now, there's a rumor going around now, too, that DOS Dude is working on a patcher, which I'm thinking he can make all the patchers he wants, but if they don't fix this race condition on this bootstrap, all the patches in the world ain't going to help it.
Oh, the more people are working on it, the better.
Yeah, I agree. But, I think, he never did Big Sur at all. He never made a patcher for Big Sur. And that's because OpenCore basically kind of put a crimp in the need of a patcher anymore.
Yeah.
So I think Colin decided, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's, kind of because OpenCore actually did it a little bit better, because you didn't need to actually change any code at all on the operating system in order to run it, because OpenCore spoofed what your system
I would prefer to see Colin doing his thing while OpenCore does their thing, and maybe a third that does their thing, because the more options, the better. If there's a bug in OpenCore, you can try Colin's patcher or the other way around. So it's nice that OpenCore is working as well as it is. I only have experience with it on the Mac Pro, but you can run OpenCore, on a lot of different systems. Mm-hmm. But I would prefer to have a backup in case it one day doesn't work as well.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you there. All right. So any more about this? I mean, like I said, this is a warning to everybody. If you have a CMP, do not go past 11.2.3. That is the last stable version. That's what I'm running right now on this CMP that we're broadcasting on. Is 11.
Yeah.
So you're better off just running Mojave, which is a well-polished and mature operating system.
Well, even Catalina's pretty good.
No,
but-
Catalina blows. It did since day one, and it did since up until the last update. And Big Sur is too young to have all the bugs worked out. And now the classic Mac Pro people are stuck on that buggy 0.2 release. So just go back to Mojave.
I see no reason to go beyond Mojave on mine right now.
Well, until they stop doing updates, and then it starts.
Even then, I run Tiger. That hasn't gotten updates in a while.
Oh,
I don't care.
Yeah,
Honestly,
as long as you can still browse the web, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Still
I
do
mean,
YouTube,
unless
right?
Colin or somebody, maybe the open core guys, unless they come up with some revolutionary breakthrough on how to get, Big Sur or Monterey or anything in the future to run on these machines, I think we may have to face an end of life as far as software goes for these, Mac OS software.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what have we squeezed? What?
A lot of
These are
years out of these.
2009, so 10, 11, 12 years. We squeezed blood out of a stone for these machines. I think that's about as good as we can expect in a realistic.
And then there's the
frame
little
of reference.
bumps. Like we got this far without OpenCore. We got to a certain point, and then suddenly, bam, OpenCore. You got hardware acceleration. You got your boot screen back. You can up, and so who knows what's coming in the future?
Yeah.
That's
I would
probably
love
the only
something to
update.
pop up that
Yeah.
says, "Hey, 10 more years, awesome."
Well, I mean,
I'll
when the
I don't know
last
if it'll be that
Intel
long.
version of Mac OS comes out, that's when we could sign a death warrant on these machines. Because
Yeah,
If they, like I said, if they can do another open core type, or fix open core on these machines to run more current versions, I'm all for it. If they can get the final version of Big Sur, whatever it is, to run and it's stable, I'll try it. I'll try it. But right now, I'm just running a Mojave natively. I could do it with open core. But I'm just going to wait and see.
Well,
because right now everything works the way I need it to.
To be honest with you, running Mojave on there with OpenCore, if you have a graphics card that doesn't have a boot, it's non-Apple flashed. OpenCore is very
I'm aware
good
of
for that
the
machine. But if you
hardware
have an Apple
acceleration
flash
and all that good
card
stuff.
and run a Mojave, there's no need for OpenCore at all
Yeah,
because you're going to have everything built in.
yeah.
By the way,
I
how
have an
credible
AMD card,
is,
so I don't have a boot screen.
what was it? Bruce who said it? That there's one more Intel Mac Pro coming. Some code was discovered somewhere.
Yep.
But how credible do we think that is? If we already know that, what's the new system name?
Monterey.
Monterey is not going to enable a bunch of features on Intel.
It's Monterey. We're going with
The
fish.
thing is, it is an assumption. It's an assumption made based on what someone saw inside the Monterey operating system, that it had this allowance, but it is by no means a guarantee that there is another Intel Mac Pro coming out. All it is it's like, oh, this could mean there is another a new Intel Mac Pro coming out. So, yeah.
The 2019 could be around for 6 years, like the 2013 was.
Maybe.
I don't think it'll be quite that
Well,
long.
they're talking about a 2-year transition, so it's going to get axed soon.
To be honest with you, my gut feeling is the 2019 is the last Intel Mac. That's my gut feeling. I mean, they put everything they had in that 1.5 terabytes of memory you can upgrade to. The graphics capabilities of that thing is awesome.
Well, it doesn't make sense for them to release anymore because the M1s are already outperforming them in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. So if you've already got an M1 iMac, if they're going to bring back the iMac Pro or anything along those lines, it's going to be an M1 or M whatever. It doesn't make any sense for them to release more Intel Macs. As far as the Mac Pro goes, I think they will continue to support it because of the amount of money that people have spent on these things. they'll support them probably far longer than any others. But if you look at the rest of the line, we've got 2018, 2019, even 2020 models, I think, that are Intel. So, I mean, they're going to support them for a while, but I don't think anything new is going to be Intel.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. I think all the lines that they have out that's Intel now, that's probably end of line until they decide to actually. They may put like a little speed bump in some of those things, but they're not gonna do anything drastic to warrant a new line of computers.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so
We'll see.
our next topic tonight. Who put this one here? Apple profit and loss reporting.
Oh, that's one of mine.
All right, then you take it.
Okay. Okay, so this is something that surfaced during the Epic Games versus Apple battle, and it was when they were trying to establish some information about how much money the Apple Store makes. And it actually stems back to when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, in sort of whenever it was, 1996. What happened was, we know that Apple was losing money hand over fist during that time. So Steve Jobs went into Apple and he went to every single department, and every single department shared their profit and loss statement, and every single one of them was making a profit, supposedly reporting a profit. So he looked at it and he said, well, how can this company be losing money when everyone is reporting a profit? And so he, at that time, decided to change the way Apple works, and he made it so that the company runs on a universal profit and loss throughout all departments. They don't split it up. And his justification behind that was that the way the organization was running before, different departments were, constantly making excuses as to why potentially they weren't making money. They were having to do this and they were having to do that, or whatever the case may be. And he preferred the idea of an organization where one department that might have figured something out that can benefit another department, he didn't want them keeping that information to themselves, because they're not wanting, the other department to start making more money than they were. He didn't want to have this kind of, insulated sort of, feeling of this compartmental kind of thinking within the organization. He wanted it so that if someone came up with an idea that could help everyone, it was the sort of thing that was going to be shared, because they were all in this together, one great big profit and loss statement. And it's a very interesting thing, because when they then started saying to Tim Cook, how much money does the Apple Store make? He was pretty much saying, well, I can really only give you a guess. I can't tell you exactly, because that's not the way we do our profit and loss within the organization. I mean, I'm sure they've got certain, key performance indicators and stuff like that, but they don't actually do individual breakdowns of the profit and loss. They know how many units they sell of the computers and all that sort of stuff. They can tell you, they can give you numbers of how many things are selling. But I just found that a really interesting thing, and I think probably quite a good thing, because it cuts down on that kind of blame game within an organization of of who's making money and who's not, that sort of thing. So this is sort of, I guess, not so much a topic, more of just a monologue, but I just thought I'd mention it because I did find that very interesting.
That is interesting. I never knew that.
Indeed it is.
Never knew that.
Steve's back.
Yeah, time to take my eyes down, please.
Nah, leave them up. I like them.
See if we can get a nice transition from that to that.
Yeah.
That's too late.
Now he just looks silly.
Oh well. What else is new?
No. Hi, Steve.
So, unless anyone has got anything else that they want to ask or add about that that last topic that I just spoke about.
You said that's the way Tim Cook started things, or the way Steve Jobs?
No, that was the way Steve Jobs started it.
So,
but it was Tim Cook was the one that was talking about it at the courthouse.
That almost doesn't sound like Steve Jobs, because
I was thinking the same thing.
He was the one that always had fights between different departments in Apple. Yeah. That's why I'm like.
Yeah, well, I mean, my guess is that those fights between. I mean, first of all, I think that was more about that was the younger Steve Jobs, was it not, or is that So I think he mellowed a little bit during the next days.
Because I think Jay was thinking the same thing as me. I'm thinking, is he talking about Steve Jobs, the same Steve Jobs?
Yeah, this is coming from the guy that had the Lisa and the Macintosh team battling against each other, and
or even
what?
Apple
now
II
he suddenly
and
wants Unity.
Apple II and the Macintosh.
I do think that during the time away from Apple, you know, when he was doing Next and Pixar, I think he learned
a little more zen.
Yeah, a little bit more zen. It was one comment that was actually made in one of the books that I read, that when he came back to Apple, and he got up at one of the keynotes and was just talking about how fantastic the team was and what a brilliant effort they all did, and how, you know, sort of and all the credit goes to them. It was kind of like, oh wow, this is a different Steve Jobs. It's not the one that gets up there and takes all the credit for everything.
I think that was like at least one of the instances he did that was at the iPhone event. Like they were just like incredibly like humble for whatever reason. Maybe because people like worked 5 years of the damn thing.
I think he was just tired of all the fighting that was there before between Apple and Macintosh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he was tired of that. I think Bruce hit the nail on the head.
Well, he probably recognized that it was more harmful than good.
I think he grew up and he realized that's one of the biggest reasons why he got kicked out of the company is because of the way he was making each team fight each other, you know?
I mean, we have to remember during that time, he was a kid, you know? I mean, he was in his 20s, you know? He was... He sort of really did lack the maturity. I mean, we've read that he has some very significant personality flaws, but then you basically add that to the fact that he was, you know, very young. You know, I think he definitely did get better at what he was doing and get better at running a company as he got older.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I totally, All right. Any more on
this
that?
This is me again. Sorry, I thought this one might actually be a little bit fun for you know, getting a little bit of involvement in. So this is a topic that I added after reading the article. So this is an article about a thing called Sherlocking, and this is a name that came up when there was a company that made an application called Watson, and Watson was something that added web searches into Apple's Sherlock. So when you had the Sherlock search, you could actually search for web content as well from Sherlock, and with this application called Watson. Now then, Apple then brought out an update which incorporated web searches into Sherlock, which immediately made Watson obsolete. And so this term Sherlocking got coined, and that's essentially when Apple makes an update or an improvement to their product, essentially making a third-party app obsolete. Now, obviously, if it's something which is a really big, difficult thing to code, they might sometimes just go out and buy that company. But if it's something they can just knock up quickly themselves, they will just do it. And you can't really blame them, I guess, at the end of the day for taking these ideas, improving the OS. But I just thought it would be a fun one for people to just come forward into the chat and maybe give some examples, some ideas of some of the apps that have been Sherlocked over the years, because it's been going on a long time.
Well, the first one that comes to my mind would be the Mac OS itself.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of went to Xerox and said, hey, you guys have got something here, but you guys build copiers and we're going to change the world. Whatever.
I mean, not including the old stuff, but, you know, the iTunes Music Store, the iPhone Pinch to Zoom, the iPad. Microsoft had a tablet first. You know, the click wheel on the iPod. But for me, the biggest one that peeves me is what Apple calls Night Shift. It's a blatant ripoff from Flux.
Yeah.
Or F.Lux, however you want to pronounce it. They've been doing this since the PowerPC days. And they still do it better now today, even with Night Shift. So.
Well, if you look at iOS now, I mean, remember back in the day, I used to jailbreak my phone because you could get a lot more features on it and stuff. All those features that I jailbroke for are now on iOS. So it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
things
Jay
like
mentioned...
hotspot.
Yeah, exactly. Jay mentioned iTunes Store and all that stuff. iTunes itself was was basically an app called Sound Jam.
Yeah.
Made by a company, I think it was called Cassidy and Green. They made Sound Jam, and it was the first really good, efficient, skinnable MP3 player for the Mac. And Apple bought it and turned it into iTunes, and you couldn't skin it anymore.
Well, that's like
At
Siri.
least they purchased it, didn't steal it.
Siri was bought. I mean, that's the name of the company that actually invented, the voice assistant, and Apple bought it and used it.
I have one that probably nobody will remember, but it's the dashboard widgets for Tiger. Well, there was Kaleidoscope.
Oh yeah,
dashboard widgets came out. I mean, Kaleidoscope could do a little bit more than the dashboard could.
Yeah,
because I think you could float them around on your desktop and stuff like that. But
Kaleidoscope would change your whole theme and everything.
Yeah, there was Kaleidoscope that could change your theme, and then it morphed into or maybe they just use a similar name, or maybe I'm just insane and forgetting the name of it. But there was one that sort of competed with dashboard widgets there.
Well, I can go way, 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 way back, under System 6. When you used to click on a menu, it only stayed down while you held the mouse down. And someone brought out a little extension called, I think it was Sticky Menus or something like that, so that when you clicked on a menu, it stayed open until you clicked on something or clicked it again. And of course, then Apple in sort of whatever it was, System 7 actually adopted that behavior in their operating system and sort of making that one completely obsolete. Things like Adobe Type Manager, which used to render fonts on the screen, render vector-based fonts in nice high resolution on the screen. And that got replaced when System 7 came out, and TrueType fonts just rendered on the screen as part of the operating system. And it has just been going on for such a long time.
We got a few good examples in the chat. Does anyone remember Duet, where you could use your iPad as a second display?
Yep.
Yeah.
Apple crippled that on purpose until they came out with their own implementation. And here's another one that I forgot about. Before Notification Center, there was something called Growl.
Growl.
Yes, I remember that.
Blatant ripoff.
And I just want to correct myself. It was actually Confabulator.
Confabulator, yeah.
Thank you very much, Sam. I knew it was with the K and it was a long word. Not Kaleidoscope.
But Duet, I actually bought that program because you had to buy, I think it was the iPad version or vice versa. I can't remember which one you had to buy. You had to buy one of them, and then the other one was free, and then they linked together, and it worked perfect. It worked great.
Till Apple crippled it.
Yep, and then they came out with their own ridiculous implementation, which really didn't work worth a damn, and I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, I can't think of any other examples, but Apple wouldn't be here without Sherlocking.
Oh yeah.
So
history is replete with examples.
Here is the thing. I mean, is it a bad thing? I mean, if Apple are improving their operating system with things that people want to use, can you blame them for it? Should they actually
the way they do it.
Yeah.
So you think they should maybe buy the idea?
The company that made Flux, they could have offered them a good sum of money, say, hey, what you have here is brilliant. We want it. How much? But they just steal it. Yeah. And then if they happen to steal something from a company that has a bit of a bank account and tries to sue Apple, it's like, oh, let's call the 500 lawyers we have on retainer. Go get them.
Yeah.
They're not doing it in a fair way. Exactly. That's my problem.
Oh yeah, and all these tech companies are exactly like that. They're just gonna go after, say, oh yeah, we'll have that feature, we'll have that feature. Oh, that's not patented exactly how we're gonna use it. We're just gonna change it. There we go, we'll have that.
Yeah.
And they're just gonna screw them over. And
it certainly makes you feel a little better when they actually buy, like with Sound Jam, they did buy that. Did they buy? Yeah, they bought Cassidy and Green. They bought the entire company, or did they buy just the program? I don't remember. But there was a transaction there. It wasn't just, hey, you have great code, we're going to copy
they weren't
it.
big enough yet to have 600 lawyers on retainer.
There is also, there's a numbers game. If they want to bring a feature to the operating system or to an application in a hurry, if they're going to steal it, they've got to code it from scratch. If you buy something that's already been written, you can incorporate that much, much, much quicker. I mean, I remember when content-aware scaling first came out, which of course is in Photoshop. Well, it didn't used to be in Photoshop. It used to be a separate application written by this guy who came up with this amazing idea of you being able to do content-aware scaling and stuff like that. I can't even remember the name of the application, but Adobe, obviously they didn't have time to go in and do that whole thing from the ground up, so they just bought the company, including the guy who was the main developer, and he then went and started working for Adobe. So that, with that sort of stuff, it's a numbers game. If they think, look, you know what, we can knock this up in an afternoon with our developers, they're not going to pay a cent for it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay, here it is. Just so I make myself clear, Apple purchased the rights to SoundJam, the app, from Cassidy and Green. So yeah, that's that makes you feel a little better about it. But what they turned it into, early iTunes, people did not like compared to SoundJam.
Yeah.
'Cause you could make SoundJam look so cool and had neat animations with it and stuff like that. And it felt like a much more user-friendly app.
Yeah, SoundJam, the earlier versions were sort of like the Windows Media Player, Winamp rather, where you could really customize the heck out of it. And I just want to mention one that someone mentioned in the chat. Vina mentioned Windows Shade, which is an excellent thing that I forgot about.
That's a very good example.
Yeah.
Perfect
Which
example.
one?
Windows Shade. So that was in System 7.5, where you could double click on the title bar and it would shrink the whole window just to the top.
Oh, I love that feature.
And it I think it went away in...
No, they had it in OS 8 and 9.
Yeah, right. They added a button for it in those.
Yeah, I think 8.0 didn't have it, but 8.5 did, or something weird like that. Like it came back and then it went away. But actually, there's a new version of it called Windows Shade X, which pretty much does the same thing in OS 10. So
I like to watch
I've never
it.
used a Windows Shade or anything like that. So
and there was also because they took away the spring-loaded folders in OS 10 for a while, and then there was like a third-party integration, and then they just they added it back in. But that was just stupid. And SuperClock,
search
another
for
one.
Windows Shade. I end up in the Lowe's website in the Windows Shades department.
You gotta type window and shade, all one word.
That's how
Here it is,
popular
a Macintosh Garden.
Yep.
Nice.
the Superclock also got absorbed into.
Yeah, that was a weird point in Apple where like System 7.1 had a lot of updates, and I think at the time Apple was just trying to say, look, that macOS is fresh. We're not dumping all this money into Coupland and not going anywhere. macOS is fresh. Come on, and they just bought all these little utilities that people use like SuperClock and Shade. Like, there, it's in the OS now. Innovation.
Sam Johnson mentioned a good one. SuperClock got absorbed into 7.5. Yeah, but they gave him credit. Cool.
Yep.
I forgot all about SuperClock.
All right.
I always wanted to see him. I just wanted to see him copy the eyeballs. Like, eyeballs follow your cursor around.
So we're gonna move on here to the next topic, which is what were they smoking? And I think Bruce, you have a link you want to post in there.
Oh, does he
this
ever?
one I just found today. It's a nice one. This one, seriously, if anyone's in the market, jump on it.
Yeah. Got $500,000 laying around. Yeah, go for it. At least you get free shipping.
There it is.
Unlike some auction sites.
I think that's a steal. I don't even know what it is.
I like that the guy is using a bolt to hide the serial number on the back, as if like we're going to register the product and steal his warranty or
We've
something.
seen stuff
For a
from
guy
this
that's
guy
selling
before.
something for $500,000, like I was telling Bruce earlier, you'd think he would turn the photo around so you could actually not have to do this.
Or
to...
Get
Or put an
this.
OS on it.
Turn the device on so you can actually see it function. I mean,
So,
collectors
tell us
are priced accordingly.
Steve, tell us a little bit about the Dynamac. What's inside that?
I'd love to. So the Dynamac was essentially, depending on the model you got, was a Macintosh Plus or a Macintosh SE. And so Dynamac, just like Colby Systems and all these other companies, before Apple actually had a portable, so this is before the PowerBook, before even the Macintosh portable, the idea was that Apple did not make a portable Macintosh at all. You had the compact Mac, the 512K, the 128K, the Plus. That was it. That's all you got. So the idea was that these companies found a legal gray area where they could either buy the components. In fact, that Dynamac, if you look at that keyboard, it looks suspiciously like a Mac Plus keyboard, and that's because it is. It's exactly what it is there.
Imagine what that would sound like.
Yeah, so they would exactly just take the logic board there. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some interesting engineering going on with all these companies, and if you looked at my YouTube channel, you see my Mac clone video, I go into all of these custom built machines, and the way they would get around Apple getting mad at them is, one, Apple didn't compete in the portable business at the time with the Macintosh, and two, they were just selling logic boards that they stripped out of other machines, and they would adapt them. They would add in display controllers. They would put in a lot of custom silicon in there in some cases. They would build their own battery packs, and three, they legally could do it because they weren't stealing any of Apple's ROMs. What they would do is they would buy Macintosh Plus machines, cannibalize them. They would do whatever they wish with the parts, and then they would, probably add a lot of hefty add-on pricing to the individual who they would sell that to. So, you would get a machine like this that would have, ROM sockets, and, you'd have to go to a dealer or whatever, and they put the ROMs in, or whatever the case may be. It was different from manufacturer to manufacturer. But yeah, these portables are very interesting devices. I would not say they are worth that much. I say they are quite hard to find in good condition these days, especially with those electroluminescent displays, which apparently don't last forever. Not what does. But
Steve, it almost sounds like you have been researching Macintosh clones.
It almost does. There's this guy. He makes videos that are a little too long. I don't know what his name is.
Technically, this is not really a clone, though. Correct?
It is in the sense that the hardware is not 100% Apple, and they were trying to have a non-Apple machine run the operating system. It's not.
I would categorize it more as a Hackintosh than a clone.
But
it's close.
But the clone term comes from the PowerPC machine. So I just grouped them all together because they are trying to accomplish the same thing. They are trying to run the Macintosh operating system on a non-piece of Apple hardware.
Steve, I think you need to go buy this then.
No. Which is interesting because this is actually, most of these actually have Apple boards in them from a Plus or an SE. They would not reverse engineer the logic board. They just use that. And so a lot of the advertisements would say 100% ROM compatible using genuine Apple hardware, because all they did was change the case around it.
Now, in your professional opinion, Steve, for $500,000, should we have a picture of it working?
You should have multiple pictures of it working. You should have a picture of Steve Jobs hugging it. You should have a picture of Steve Wozniak hugging it. You should have their signatures,
all of their signatures on it.
Thing. Yeah, all over the thing. You should
even
have
though
their
it's
saliva,
not their product,
their hair sample, a stool sample. You should have all this stuff.
Okay, I think we just went a little far with the stool sample.
Hey,
it depends on who's buying it.
You need to get your value here. The value's not there right now. You add all those things, hey, maybe you never know. Learn how to battery.
Get close to 100,000.
Yeah, and maybe chuck in a Ferrari as well.
Maybe a Bentley too.
Yeah, used Ferrari, but yeah.
Yeah, I think he was smoking the electroluminescent display.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's it. All right, guys. So that was our What Were They Smoking for this week. The next is our game time, and I know everybody has fun with this. We haven't done this in the last few weeks, so we got a couple tonight that we're going to do tonight. The down and dirty is, if you have done this, eep. If you have not done it, quack. So the first one comes from Logan/CTR on Discord.
Crazy Tech Reviews.
Yeah. That's it. Crazy Tech Reviews. Have you ever reassembled a really complex device back together just to realize you forgot to install an important piece?
Eep.
Eep.
How many quacks have you done this?
Oh, if somebody quacks on this, you're
They're
a liar.
lying.
You are a liar.
Retro Techie.
Oh, Retro Techie, you are a liar. I'm calling him out. He is a liar.
No, he just doesn't take things apart and put them back together.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
That's the answer.
Maybe that's it.
The best is when you have a camera set up on a tripod. It's focused. You're doing the disassembly or whatever, and you get it perfect. You're not fumbling or anything. Nothing goes flying off camera. No magic smoke comes out, and then you reassemble it and you go, crap, because there's a screw that's on the left side of your desk here that's like, oh, that should go like 3 steps before I sealed up the thing.
Yeah.
And then I had to rip it all apart
crucial
again, and you screw it
component.
up.
Yeah. How important is that component? That's
Do we really need that retaining
Can I
screw?
get by without that?
I've actually done that
Put some
before
duct
where
tape
a
in.
screw, I'll have a couple of screws and I'm like, do I really need to have the screws? Let me see if it powers on. Does it power on? Then I don't need that screw.
Does
I have
it rattle
so
when
many-
I'm picking it up?
I have so many.
I've done that in the past a lot with G5s. When G5 needed a board replaced or a power supply replaced, the whole thing had to come apart. And you put it back together, and you're fine. And then sometimes a customer would call you, or they would come before they pick it up. They would call you and say, "Hey, can you build in an airport card?" Like, yeah, sure. And you find out that you buried the antenna cables behind the board when you put it back together, and that is really painful. It's not fun.
I bet.
Like, we'll just cut that cable and solder a new one on.
Yeah. And that was before we had good USB external alternatives. So, damn
I'll
it.
tell you what, I'll give you a discount on an external one. Yeah, I have like so many little bags that are like half filled with screws on my desk, and I'm like, where what machine did this
Where
go?
did these come from?
Yeah.
I'll need them one day.
All right.
It's funny when I hear people doing recappings, like, oh, the cap came off, but it still works.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just something like, say, I think it's the Classic or the Macintosh TV. I can't remember one of them. You can take off all of the serviceman electrolytic capacitors; it'll still run. But they are meant to be there for a purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have just They wouldn't have just put them there just for looks.
So we only have
Unless you're on the original MacBooks,
I
which
only
just
see
had
one
the
quack,
screws.
and that was retro tech.
one liar. The rest, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're talking about the MacBooks, which had extra screws on just one side, they were purely there for cosmetic purposes for symmetry.
Yeah. All right. Next one is one I came up with, and it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. Have you ever installed a beta only to have it break your system and then blame Apple for it? And I'm going to say quack.
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 Yeah, because I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see how many eeps we have out here. So now we're going to sit there and say,
No one's going to say eat now, not after all the stuff we've said in the show.
Nah, they're brave.
There it is. Quack, 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 quack,
Yeah.
quack.
Yeah,
How about this? Have you installed a beta on your system and it broke your system? Eep.
What do you mean,
Quack,
bro?
quack.
well,
Have you ever installed a beta and it screwed things up?
I installed an
Quack.
actual like .0 or .1 release that screwed up my system. That was Tiger or Panther with the iDisk syncing. And because of that, it erased my entire iDisk. I had to talk to Apple Care support. Thankfully, I knew a guy in Apple Care support, and he was actually able to talk to somebody. And a few months later, we got it restored, and I had all my data back. But as a hey, we're sorry, we screwed up. At the time, they gave me a 200 megabyte like upgrade to my .Mac storage or whatever it was at the time. And so for the longest time, I would log into then it was Mobile Me, and then it was iCloud, and it would show like the storage tier I'm paying for plus the 200 megabytes. And I'm like, oh, wow, could store an extra album of music.
so I'm seeing
I've
couple
never
of eeps.
installed
I'm
a
hoping
beta
those are for
on-
Dana's question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A beta, if I install a beta, it always goes on a separate hard drive.
Yes.
So nothing to mess up.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think most of the people that are installing beta software are smart enough to back it up and keep your personal data off the disk and stuff like that. But some people are silly,
One
and
would hope
they
so.
they see this stuff as soon as Apple is announcing it. They're like, I'm going to install it on my primary device. Why can't I make a phone call? It's like, that's kind of why they call it beta, but
Yeah.
kids don't understand what that word means, I suppose.
You know what's funny is now Apple actually is putting watch betas out there, which I will never put a beta on my watch because there's no way for you to hook it up to anything to do a restore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's no backup.
Hold on a second. Something just came to mind that Steve mentioned during or after the keynote, and I don't remember where this came from. You're now allowed to install older versions of iOS on your phone.
Not older, but the thing came out was that for iOS 15, so there's going to be, I guess, some update, or maybe it's already built into iOS 14. You're going to be able to choose on your device, which is going to be helpful for older devices, where you could say, no, I just want the security updates for iOS 14, or you're going to be able to do the full install of 15. Now, there's some speculation of what exactly the process will be, but I am curious to see if you'll be able to then, let's say if I upgrade to iOS 15 and I'm like, this is garbage, can I restore then to iOS 14, or are they not going to allow that? So I would assume you could, because if they are still digitally signing updates for iOS 14 as far as security updates go and stuff like that, because on the iPhone an update is an update. It's not like the Mac where you select what you want to update. It's just one update. So I would assume, as other people are doing as well, that if there is that branching there, then you could choose what you want. And this has been something that I have fully thought that Apple should have done from day one, even if it's restricted to just developer people that pay Apple.
I kind of think they're doing this now, and this is the reason why I think they're doing this, because of some of the security issues that they've had with all the way back to iOS 12, I think, or something like that, where they were having some issues, and they actually updated. And remember that they just did this recently.
A few months ago.
Yeah, where they had to do some security updates because there was a big security flaw. And I'm thinking that's the reason why they're doing this now, because like some people are running older hardware that can't run this newer stuff.
Yeah, or they'll run poorly.
I mean, it wasn't part of the keynote, but I think that's fantastic news.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I agree too.
I think it's cool that I think it's cool that they're still supporting the 6S and the SE. Yeah. But this also suggests to me that they know that it's not going to run all that well on this old hardware.
Steve, I have a question since you watched it religiously, is on the Watch OS. Now, we all understand that the Watch OS 3, or the Watch Series 3, has some issues when you want to update it. Because you have to basically wipe the watch, load the new update, and then restore it back. Correct? For the
one-time dig.
The version 3 watch, the Series 3 watch.
Yeah.
So anytime you do a major update, you have to basically...
Nope.
What do you mean, no?
That was a one-time thing.
That was a one-time thing?
No.
Anyone that has already gone through that is not going to have it again.
I had to go through it twice.
Yeah.
Well, you're Steve. So.
Yes. They're like, this guy, no, his videos are too long. No, he's got to go through
because I heard...
Have you seen this guy with Open Transport?
Well, the reason why they said they did it because it doesn't have enough memory on that particular watch series, and you can't put the whole OS onto it in order to update it. So it has to do it, wipe it, then put a new OS on there, and then, it can't do two OSs at the same time.
So what Apple's official documentation says, and this is their knowledge-based document, says if you don't have enough space, do these steps. And it says you have a Series 4 or an SE, do the steps below. And then it says if you have a Series 3, just skip to the unpair and delete section. And I literally have nothing on this watch. No photos, no music, hardly any apps. And this thing is so.
All right. So that is our
it's compatible with the newest
tonight.
one.
So we're going to move on to Steve's Archive Adventure. So it's all on you now, Steve.
Yay! So this is just something I scanned in that was neat. I'm going to put a link in the chat here. And so essentially, I have this big binder called Apple Support Tools, and it's something that you would have, I guess, gotten if you were supporting systems back in the day. But what's neat is this guy printed out a bunch of press releases and put the holes punched the holes in there and put this into the binder and stuff. So this was a press release from March 21st, 1990, from Daystar Digital, a well-known maker of manufacturing accelerator cards and upgrades and cache things and all sorts of fancy upgrade stuff for your Macs. And this is basically saying, hey, that we've slashed the prices of our 68,000 series accelerator cards, the Macintosh 2 series. And I just find it interesting to first look at the prices. Those I mean, if you wanted a slight upgrade for your Mac 2, it's going to set you back $1,500 there. God forbid you want the 50 megahertz one, that's going to be $3,000. And this is 1990s pricing, so ow.
They couldn't even be bothered to add $3 more on.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting to read this. It's a 2-page thing. I scanned it in, and it's OCR and all that fun stuff, so you could search it. But I just find that it's interesting, the pricing of this, and just how, they were touting this as like, oh, these are affordable instead of upgrading.
I know, it's not the pricing, it's the sentence underneath. We are excited to make high-speed performance affordable for everyone. Everyone? What do you?
Yeah, everyone who could sell their leg and their arm to pay the new accelerator card. But I guess it was
Could this be
cheaper.
a what were they smoking thing?
I mean, if you look at the prices and how much those silly machines went for, Bruce knows this, how much those Mac 2s went for. Yeah, it is cheaper than buying a brand new computer, but you're really getting down to the wire there if you're, waiting a few months and Apple's going to announce a new one next year or whatever.
Well, and also coming from a time where primarily only professionals would have a Mac. It would make them money, so an investment like that would make sense.
And this certainly another $3,000 to duplicate, to double the speed of how you could export an image or process a file or something.
That's right. I mean, if you had a Mac 2 and you were contemplating between getting one of these accelerators or buying, say, a Mac 2 CI, one of these you could theoretically get faster than a Mac 2 CI, and for probably half the price of actually buying the new computer or less. So, there was just, I mean, when you're paying north of $5,000 for the computers, spending a couple of thousand on an upgrade can make sense.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, this is just something I scanned in, a neat little piece of history that you probably can't find anywhere else. So there you go.
Yeah, alrighty.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, and since Dave's here, we got to hurry up and finish the show. So go ahead, Jay. It's your turn.
All right. So I think this is the first time in, which episode is this? 123, that I do a little segment. So I'm a little nervous, a little sweaty, and but I'm going to give it a shot. So June is Backup Awareness Month, and I didn't even realize this until yesterday. So I failed to do this the first show of the month, but I'm going to catch up. Don't worry. I want to talk just a few minutes about backing up. I'm going to recommend or suggest a few pieces of software, some strategies, and just plant the seed. So for anyone that's currently not backing up or wants to change up their backup strategy or software, this might help. So today, a quick mention of two utilities that probably most people already know. One is called Carbon Copy Cloner. The other one is called SuperDuper. They have both been around since the early 2000s. Carbon Copy Cloner was actually first, and SuperDuper ripped them off, but that's irrelevant. If you have a Mac that runs macOS 10.2 Jaguar up until Big Sur, or maybe even the what's the new one? I can't remember it. Monterey beta. These two apps should have you covered. You can clone your drive unless you're on an M1 Mac. Sorry, no bootable clones. You can do incremental backups. You can do full backups. You can back up to a hard drive, a tape drive, a zip drive, a remote server. I think Carbon Copy Cloner and or SuperDuper will have 95% of the users covered when it comes to backup tasks. Unless you need really intricate and specific stuff, then maybe these are not the apps for you. But I started a little page that I have already lost. Oh no, here it is. On the website, which I'll put in the chat right now, it goes into a little bit of detail about the apps, what they're primarily meant for, where you can get them, where you can get older versions. There will be some linking to Macintosh Garden as well. And basically the whole point of this little segment is to, if you're not already backing up, please start backing up. Don't be that person that loses data after installing a beta that you're not supposed to run. Just back up.
I wanted to see the new colors and I lost all my precious family photos.
Exactly. Don't be that person.
Yeah.
The one benefit that SuperDuper has over Carbon Copy Cloner, those of us that have used this in the past may remember that Carbon Copy Cloner used to be free, and it had that little cheesy banner at the bottom, like, did we save your bacon? Give us a donation. That changed after 2010 when they started charging for it. It's well worth the money if you ask me. It's $40, and that licenses your entire household. Whether you have one Mac or 30, you're good to go. Super Duper is $28 for one single Mac, but they have a limited free version with less features. So if you want to back up your Plex server, it's not really that important, but I do want to automate my backups, go with Super Duper instead of spending all that money on Carbon Copy Cloner maybe. If you have multiple machines that you really want to back up and do it right, that $40 is money well spent.
Well, Jay, I got a quick question to ask you on that. Can you?
We don't have time, man.
Yeah,
Dave is here.
We got
Dave's.
Dave's
one
here.
question.
All right.
Can you use Disk Manager, or the Disk Manager on the OS to do something similar to that?
Disk Manager?
Or the disk tool that comes with Mac OS.
Oh, Disk Utility?
Disk Utility, yeah.
You can image your drive like you can on any machine, but it's going to take longer because Disk Utility is slow and garbage ever since, 10.9? So, yeah, and I would say that, nice. I would say that, and this is something I'm going to circle back to when this month is over, these utilities should be an addition to what you already have, which is Time Machine. And as much as I hate Time Machine, it's there, it's free, it's built in, you might as well use it. So, one quick mention for iOS and iPad, which of course cannot benefit from these utilities. Take a USB cable, plug it into your Mac, and iTunes can back up your device for you. Mm-hmm. You can encrypt it, which also backs up your passwords, and it backs up everything. Or you can not encrypt it, which kind of filters out your names and passwords and financial information. But you don't have to pay for it. You're limited only by the storage capacity of your boot drive. So if you have 6 terabytes, back up all you want. iCloud is limited to, 2 terabytes?
Well, yeah.
However much you pay for.
Yeah, and there's a trick. Are you going to mention the mobile sync trick, Jay? Or
I wasn't, but you are.
iTunes backs up your device to a folder they call Mobile Sync, and that's located under your username under Library. The problem is that Mobile Sync folder is where everything gets stored, and if you have a Mac with like a 512 gig SSD or whatever, your iPhone may exceed that, especially in the way it backs up things. So what you can do is you could do a symbiotic link or an alias basically, and put that Mobile Sync folder on an external drive, and then you basically make a link using the terminal on the Mac OS to make it think that Mobile Sync library is actually there, but it's actually on your external drive. I had to do that when I backed up my iPhone, which is like 256 or whatever, and my boot drive was around the same at the time. So, there was no way I was going to fit all that on there. So,
definitely a good tip.
Yeah, there's some, do a search engine query to find out, exactly how to do it on your version of the Mac OS, but definitely a good tip out there.
Well, I think also if you have like Jay was just mentioning, hook up an iPad or iPhone with the lightning cable, you're only limited to USB 2.0 speeds. Versus like the newest iPad has USB-C, which I'm assuming can go USB 3.1 speeds.
Well, yeah, it's slower. But if you only back up your I'll just call them iDevice to kind of group them all together. If you only back them up once a year, you're going to sit there for hours waiting. If you're diligent about this, I do this every day. I'm sitting here, I plug it in, might as well click the backup button. 5-10 minutes max, because it only has to update whatever I changed.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going fast with this, but that's why I put the link in there. I put it all on the Mac Yak website so you can read it over. And I want to end this with a reminder, and that is that a backup is only a backup if the data exists in multiple locations. If you say, let me put my iPhoto library on an external and then delete it from my Mac so I have space, that's no longer a backup. That's now the data that needs a backup. Mm-hmm. So always have it in at least 2 locations to be safe.
I thought it was a 3-2-1 system that you.
I'll get
at least
we have a whole month, man. We have a whole month.
All right. All right,
So
guys.
again, you can go to the website and gloss over everything I just said, and I will be doing this every week, so you have something to look forward to.
There we go. All right. Next up is shameless self-promotion. Anybody got anything going on, like live streams, anything? I know Steve. Yeah, he's raising his hand.
I ain't do nothing.
Mike is here.
Mike is here. Hey, Mike. Eep. That eeps for you, Mike. That Mike's for eep. I'm working on a bunch of videos. I just wanted to say, because I put on my Patreon thing, that I have continued. I picked up where I left off on my clone script, so that is being dusted off and being looked at. There's like 8 pages there. The target is around 10 or 11. So yay, progress.
Anybody else got anything going on?
I will be doing a live stream over the next 3 days. I don't know which day, but I will be doing a live stream.
A 3-day live stream?
No.
He's gonna break my record.
It's a long weekend here. It's a public holiday on Monday, so either tomorrow or Sunday or Monday, I will be doing a live stream. I don't know which one yet, or maybe more than one. I've just had a damaged Macintosh SE30 board come in from Israel, and I'll be trying to get that working again. So just as well as just the normal stuff here as well. So I will definitely be doing a live stream.
Awesome.
I don't have anything going on recently. I just bought a new microscope, so I'll be playing around with that soon. And
Sweet.
Yep. So.
And Dana will be doing stuff.
Maybe. I was just checking on that O-ring shipment, and it's still in Michigan, so
we're gonna have to get Dana to rename his channel.
Dana occasionally does stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rare
That one
and
doesn't
stuff.
540C today. Yay! PowerBook 540C. Yippee!
Does it have a Power PC upgrade in it?
Probably not.
Have the PC
I
card?
haven't opened it
Oh,
up yet.
speaking of which, that little box right there, that little box, that
What are you
is
about?
a G4 upgrade for that machine right there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
That
you
will
should
make
be
a nice
doing stuff,
stream.
live stream.
That would make
Yeah,
an
will,
awesome
yes.
live stream. Dana, do stuff.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, and I forgot to mention the website, the article that I just linked to. There's a little poll on there, like if you've ever used Carbon Copy Clone or Super Duper, neither or both. So put your vote in there. So next week we can kind of see the results. Will be fun.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, we are pretty much at the end of our show tonight. Guys, make sure you join us on Discord. And Bruce, tell them what to do.
What was it again? Smash
Nice.
butts.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. We only do this once a week. You're only going to get one notification a week if YouTube actually sends out a notification. So there you go. And you can't blame me for that. That's a YouTube thing. So
We'll blame you either way.
yeah, you probably would. But anyways, guys, it's been fun tonight, and hopefully we'll catch you guys next week, and we'll see.
And thank you for the super chats.
Yes,
Thank you
guys
very
for the
much.
Super chat, Kai and Justin. That was our 2 super chatters tonight. So, guys, take it easy, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.